Hey guys, Maniac here, and I'm here with some more Maniac reviews. Today, for Maniac reviews, I'm gonna be reviewing Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, the standalone DLC for Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon that takes place in 2007. Now, it's a bit of an 80s parody, so if you mind me, I'll be back. Alright, so Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. First things I want to mention before we get into the review. I know I usually do movies, and that's what some of you come here for, but today there was really nothing that came out that was good. I had just finished this DLC the other week, and I've been wanting to do a review on this since I finished it, so I thought, since there's nothing good out, I might as well do it now. Also, this is a standalone DLC, so that kind of makes it unique, and it's for Far Cry 3, obviously, that I haven't finished that game yet. I'd finished the DLC before I actually finished the game, but the DLC has nothing to do with the game because it takes place in a futuristic 2007 where Canada's been nuked, etc., but that gets into the storyline. So, characters. We have Sergeant Rex Power Colt, most 80s cartoon name ever. Dr. Darling, and the kind of love interest, and then Colonel Salone, or Salone as he's just called. I can't remember if he's Colonel or if he's Sergeant or some military ranking Salone. Storyline is basically, it takes place in 2007, in a futuristic 2007, because this is basically a parody on 80s cartoons, is how they got this set up. And you play as Sergeant Rex Power Colt, and take down Colonel Salone after he's been on this island and doing weird research stuff and threatens to nuke places, destroy the world, etc., etc. Usual 80s cartoon. So negatives and positives. I'm going to start off with negatives because there's not that much. The negatives is that this really has nothing to do with Far Cry 3, but I know that that's not what they were aiming for in this. I know that they were aiming for something specifically, like, really different. This is basically a game on its own, but they had to slap, I don't know why, but they slapped Far Cry 3 on it, along with the DLC for it. They should have just released this as its own game, but since it is a standalone DLC, it is a game on its own. Another thing is how dark it is. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, well, that's what it's supposed to obtain and stuff. Well, the thing is that with Far Cry 3, it was such a bright, beautiful looking game that this just kind of takes that away. Like, it's in the same engine and everything, but this takes that whole beautiful thing away from that Far Cry 3 is, and just trashes it, which it sucks. But I know that they're trying to go for an apocalyptic theme, but I don't know, just the atmosphere, it does kind of blend in good with the story and what's been going on, but it's just too dark. Like, they should have, I know that kind of sounds weird, but they should have had it more vibrant and stuff, I think, especially for where they were, it kind of takes place and everything. But I don't know, that kind of confused me for sure. The storyline's absolutely ridiculous. There is no other way to put it. It goes from, okay, this is kind of a regular storyline, to, at the end, flippin', what is going on? This is crazy. Like, there's some stuff at the end that doesn't even make sense. I'm still finishing. Another episode will be up by tomorrow. If you guys are interested in watching my series on it on the gaming channel, link in the description. But anyways, and there is basically, but I know that that's what they meant to do, but sometimes, a lot of the times, it does work. But then some of the times at the end, I didn't really see that working in its favor. So yeah, that's really the negatives that I got. Positives now. This is a standalone DLC. You don't see that many standalone DLCs. And this is basically another game on its own, which is nice because it's a cheap, fun game that you could spend about as much time as you want on it. Same time about as Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3, although even more of a gigantic open world, this one is about the same size as the first island in Far Cry 3. Because I just found out that there's 2 islands actually. And the first island, but it has a lot more outposts. The outposts are harder, way harder to get. And there's just a lot more stuff that you can do in it than you would think. I kind of rushed through it to get the storyline done. I did do a few garrisons, as they're called, but I mostly rushed through. Another thing that I really liked about this were the blood dragons. Kind of what the story, what this is based around, and they're basically these gigantic prehistoric dinosaur-looking things, and they just looked really cool. The way that they worked and everything was really cool. I like them. There's a part at the end that's probably going to be a channel, this August's channel moment, and it's, oh, I was freaking out. It was like, bah! And then that goes into some of the ridiculous parts. The storyline's really good. I thought I really liked the storyline. And like I said earlier, what they were going for was a bit of a parody on the 1980s TV shows, movies, etc. And they really achieved that well, but it kind of went to a part where it was just ridiculous, but it still kind of worked. There were some parts where it was just, this is just flipping outrageous. But there were some parts where it kind of worked, and then there were some parts where it didn't. But really, I thought, for standalone DLC that came out about 3 or 4 months after Far Cry 3, it was really good. And I think that they've been talking about a sequel too, which I'd be interested to see. But really, this is a really good thing. I would highly recommend it, considering you don't really need a good PC or Xbox or PS3, depending on what you buy on it. And I think it's like $10 now. Like, it's cheap, and you can do a lot of stuff on it, and you can just keep playing and playing and playing. Like, even after you're done the storyline, you can keep going. And I think they just put in a patch that lets you have multiple save files or something like that. I was reading, so there's a lot of cool stuff with this game, with this DLC. I want to say game so much because it acts as a game a lot of the times, but they wanted it to be a DLC. So I gotta give Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon a 4.8 out of 5. Another very good rating for a very good game, DLC, whatever. I highly recommend it if you are one of those people who have watched Far Cry 3, but either it's too expensive or you can't run it. This is the game that you will like. This is basically Far Cry 3 on a bit of a more ridiculous, funny level. Far Cry 3 on itself, there were some parts in the game that are just hilarious. One of my channel moments is the part where you get to go into a weed field and burn it to heck, and there's Skrillex and everything else playing in the background. Most fun moment I've played. Once I finish Far Cry 3, I gotta do a review for that. I know it's taking me very long. It's probably not gonna be finished for another like year. I don't know. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll do a big uploading spree. Anyways, though, yeah, recommend this DLC game. It's basically, I'm just gonna call it a game because it is basically a game. So like, I don't know how much I can stress. Very good, and the only reason why I'm giving it the small things is because, like I said, there were the small parts that were just ridiculous, and I wish they kind of had more guns in it. Another thing I should have mentioned, and that's also why I give it a 4.8. But other than that, it's basically a perfect thing. I'd really recommend it. So I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, favorite, like, and all that fun stuff. See you guys next time on whatever I make. He's gonna drag on. A peace out. A booty boop boop.